So let's go to our theme and our topic for today, managing fixed expenses. To say the corona pandemic has been disruptive would be an understatement. Just about everyone's way of life has changed. How has this change affected your business operations? And specifically, how does it affect your ability to manage fixed expenses? What are the characteristics needed to survive these new evolving trends and consumer behavior habits? Here are a few tag words that we looked at: cash, liquid assets, challenges requiring creative solutions, government compliance, keeping our employees healthy, measuring measures for health and well-being, live performance venues, survival solutions, future, and technology. In this short time, our dynamic member businesses will share with you how they are functioning on a day-to-day basis and possibly present some solutions and recommendations. We're doing this so that, it's about sharing in any business, whether you're small, medium, Black-owned corporations, special niches, upstairs, downstairs. We hope that you can learn from the information we're going to hear today. So panelist number one is Leah Abraham from Setapani Restaurant. She's a property owner on 125th Street and owner and founder of Setapani. Panelist number two is Lucy Smith, and she has been the field executive director of sales and training for MAC Cosmetic for 14 years. She can share how a beauty and makeup store is charting the waters to survive some of the changes they have been forced to make. Panelist number three is Katie Ditulli. Katie manages day-to-day reactive and proactive store maintenance needs for 75 plus stores across high-profile New York City markets, including 10 flagship locations under the Gap Inc. umbrella brands. The 125th Street has three of those stores: the Gap, Old Navy, and Banana Republic. How are the chain corporations maintaining? What are their challenges, and how does this fit into our local neighborhoods? And panelist number four is Janelle Procove. Janelle joined the Apollo Board of Trustees in 1999, and in 2003 became its president and chief executive officer. During her tenure as president, she has led a team of 50 plus employees and an executive team responsible for all operating and strategic functions of the legendary theater. But now she has a new challenge. The Apollo Theater is not only a beacon for 125th Street in Harlem and New York City and the United States, but for the world. How do you maintain an icon that has been forced to go dark? She shares some of her challenges and how she's charting the new normal. Okay, everybody, let's get into this. Leah, are you on the screen to start? You have to unmute.
Okay. Yeah. Good morning. I'm Leah Abraham. Thanks for the introduction, and good morning, everyone. So 2020, this has been a very challenging year for all of us, to say the least. It's been extremely challenging for me particularly because I've had some health issues, and as a small business owner, I am the operation. I'm the face of the business. I'm the one who opens the door, and I'm the one who closes it. I'm the one who oversees cost, etc. So it's been really, really tough. So let's just go back to when it started. March, April, restaurants were closed. Summers were great for us because the outdoor was double the size of what we could use prior to COVID. Although my sidewalk costs me $20,000 a year, this year there was no fee, so we had that added benefit. But the lack of tourism, the lack of activity in the community, the absence of the Apollo, the absence of the lack of all these businesses that are open on 125th and around. Really affects our business. People were not coming out. They worked from home. They came out for a cup of coffee and then went home. And then we came into the fall and now the winter. This month is sort of bearable with the closing of the indoors because we are actually promoting our baked goods side of the restaurant. because we have a bakery, so we're promoting that, and around the holidays that keeps us going. But I know that January and February are going to be extremely challenging. So we are preparing for those months, and that's what we're focusing on. So we have tried everything, negotiating with our landlords, that has not worked. Our fixed expenses are, of course, payroll, cost of goods, rent, tax, and utilities. Rent, there's nothing we could do. We continue to try and negotiate with our landlords. That has not happened. We've not been very successful with that. Utilities, Con Edison, thank you for not cutting us off, but we are far behind on our utility bills. But that's something that, January, February to March, we're going to have to catch up on. So we have a twofold problem, because the cost of goods, because of the sparsity, has gone up, and we have to stay competitive. So we have to lower our prices. And what we have done is really diversify some of our offerings. We're doing family dinners. We're doing, we're sort of infringing into the grocery store model by selling some products. We sell some products that, pastas or tomato sauce, that people can just come and grab. It's easier than standing online at Whole Foods. So
can everyone mute? I'm sorry, Leah. Can everyone mute their phones? Go ahead, Leah.
Yeah. So that's how we are sort of diversifying our offerings. This market has actually created a lot of other businesses that are, helping businesses like ours thrive. So even spending the time to maneuver that is time consuming. So, I find myself every day just like thrown into this haze and trying to figure my way through it. And really, as a small business without the packing, what has kept us going is PR. My daughter has been unbelievable, and that's the other thing. Use of family and friends, unbelievable at doing our marketing and just rolling up her sleeves and running the show. So this is my game plan.
Louisa, you're next. Lucy.
Good morning, everyone. Hi there. My name is Lucy Smith. I'm the Field Executive Director for MAC Cosmetics, which is part of the Estee Lauder Corporations. Thank you for having me join this meeting. I really appreciate it. Let me just start with saying that our business on 125th Street is actually one of my best businesses on the East. I actually have all the freestanding stores for MAC Cosmetics on the East, from Rhode Island down to Florida. And I will say that if I did not have my store on 125th Street, I think that we would probably be more in the negative, or the deficit would be even more. What's challenging, to Leia's point, is the traffic. Clearly, traffic is down for us in most of our locations in the US, but Harlem seems to, I think it's the sense of community. It's the sense that our customers really still want their beauty products. No matter what's going on in this pandemic, they want to feel good. They want to feel good about themselves, and even just purchasing one lipstick will help to do that. What we are doing to kind of just build more business, or even just lifting the revenue more in our 125th Street store, is we are leveraging our omni capabilities, and that's including buy online, pick up in store. We are actually leveraging our concierge platform. It's a clientele platform where our artists are actually connecting with their customers throughout the community, throughout Harlem. In my other surrounding neighborhoods, in Times Square, Soho, they're not seeing the traffic like Harlem is seeing, which is interesting. And I really believe it's because of the sense of community in Harlem and people wanting to support each other. The other parts that we are really kind of leveraging is ensuring that we are going to expand our operating hours, because we're finding that we may, our hours are currently 11 to 7 from Mondays through Saturdays, Sundays 12 to 6, and we're probably going to expand them because there's a little bit more, we're finding there's more traffic after 7. So we're probably going to expand until 9 p.m. So that may help neighboring businesses as well. Okay. So, and that's where we're going to be layering a little bit more staff support to help with these hours for shopping. But again, I think the most important thing that's working for us is really leveraging Omni, which is buy online, pick up in store, our outreach to our community, to our customers, and really having them come in. We actually have a promotional calendar as well of products where it's driving in our customers to the store. So it's holiday sets that we have on sale, on discounted markdowns. So we're doing whatever we can to really kind of just drive that business in and that traffic. Thank you.
So our next panelist is Katie Tullio from the Gap Stores.
Hey, Barbara, thanks so much for having me. Hey, everybody. I'm so excited to be here today, you know, and speaking on a lot of the themes that Lucy just went into from a retail perspective. 2020 has definitely been, it's been challenging. It's been a roller coaster. It feels like it's been 5 minutes and 5 years. So often, you know, and I think the other thing too is, you know, when we went into this pandemic, when we closed stores originally back in March, you know, we all really naively thought it was going to be this 2-week thing. We were all going to go into lockdown and then we'd be back up and running. And it's even funny because ironic, you know, and I often say, wait, is this the policy now? Was this the policy in May? Because things were so ever changing and continue to be ever changing. You know, as Barbara said, I'm a regional facilities manager for Gap Inc. We have the pleasure of having 3 locations on 125th Street, the Banana Republic factory store, the Gap factory store, and Old Navy. We were so excited to be able to get open to customers, you know, right when that wave 2 happened with New York City. I know our customers were super excited for us to be open. And from what I've seen as well is just with the theme is that traffic is down, but the interesting thing is that once the customer comes into the store, conversion is up. So they're coming in with a purpose to buy, they're buying more, and they're buying bigger transactions. So, you know, people probably aren't going to as many places anymore, but they're going to where they feel safe, where they feel trusted, you know, and where there is that sense of community. I think it's really nice to know that a majority of our associates, probably 90% of them, are actually New York City residents. A lot of them grew up in the surrounding areas, so they know the customer. You don't see that in some of the Manhattan stores where it's a lot of commuters, or it's commuters, it's tourists, which don't exist. So the drop in traffic has not been as significant as it has been in, you know, certain parts of Manhattan. You know, one of the other things too, as a national retailer, it's kind of nice to not be first, is what I like to say, especially from a regional perspective. So because New York City was one of the later regions to open up, that we made the decision to open up, we were able to really get some key findings and learnings from other parts of the country that opened up sooner and maybe didn't take as many precautions as, you know, New York City had in place. We also made the decision that we weren't going to open stores until we felt 100% safe for our customers, for our associates to be in. So it was about, how do you design health cards for stores? How do you set up meter markers? You know, what does an app look like? So that way you could determine how many people are in your store at a time. Do you have adequate PPE gear for your associates to provide? So that way they feel safe coming to work. You know, what are all those parameters in place? It's also talking about, it's no longer just a brick and mortar store, you know, a retail in a traditional sense. It's that omni capability. A lot of our stores are utilized as online fulfillment centers for what we call ship from store. where sometimes your online order might be fulfilled at the store down the street, just because that's who has your inventory. And after having inventory sit for 3 or 4 months, we had to figure out how to move, especially because the online business has grown substantially. Same thing with BOPUS, buy online, pick up in store, curbside pickup. How do you meet the customer where they feel comfortable and provide them? It's interesting. We said, hey, we're going to get into the mask game. We're going to get into the hand sanitizer game and provide customers with fashionable masks to wear, because this is now a necessity, and it's a fashion statement. If you said that to me at the beginning of the year, that would be one of our main products, nobody would have believed it, but it's been a huge point for us. And I think one of the other things too is we've created something called the convenience center, or a convenience spot in a lot of our stores. So it's right front and center when you walk in. It's an area where you can pick up your online order, you can make an online return, you can pick up a curbside order. So it's meeting that customer and figuring out where you need to be. So, and I think, we continue to change our safety protocols. If we feel it's not safe, we'll shut down stores based on what that is, because it's so important for us to have the employee feel safe when they're coming to work, and for the customer to feel safe when they're coming to shop, but also make sure that they have that same specialty retail presence that they've come to expect from the Gap brand of stores. So, and Barbara, I also want to mention, we got connected during the Floyd protests, because we did make the decision to board up our stores, as we had in a number of areas in New York City. I will say, for such a challenging time and such, a time full of a lot of feelings and unrest and everything like that, one positive thing that came out for me was the action of your committee and painting the boards and giving neighbors the space to express themselves from an artist perspective. It was such a heartwarming moment, and I'm glad that we were able to get connected and be a part of that.
Barbara, we can.
We're coming for you next year to be on our board, so watch out for it. Okay. Thank you. So, and now Janelle Procove.
Okay. Well, like Leah and Lucy and Katie said, I think the common thread through all of this is the necessity to pivot when you're confronted with, something like this. And I don't think it's anything that any of us could have ever contemplated. And Leah, I'm sorry that we're closed so that we can't send folks to you. So as Lucy said, or maybe it was Katie, when this happened in March, it happened all of a sudden. I mean, we kind of knew that things were happening, but I don't think anybody expected it to be, is accelerated in the way that it was, so that you went from 0 to 100. We closed, I think, on March the 16th. We then thought it wasn't going to last that long, so we were reluctant to begin canceling things. And what we did do immediately was to meet with our finance committee of the board to figure out how to mitigate expenses right away. And so we immediately began doing that, and taking measures that I think probably most businesses and certainly not-for-profits did. We began to, we had consultants that we had to terminate contracts with. We managed to maybe renegotiate some of the agreements with our vendors. We had to put in place a furlough plan. And actually, we now at the Apollo have nearly 100 employees. So we focused on how we were going to go about that. And then there were a number of employees we put on deferred compensation. We slashed our budget. We were on our way to having a really great fiscal 20 year when this happened. And we went from thinking that we were going to end the year with a pretty robust surplus to losing nearly $4 million when we realized that we were going to have to cancel over 100 performances and programs. And so, we're a not-for-profit. And so we immediately went into fundraising mode. The Apollo relies on the foundations, corporations, and individual donors, those communities to support the organization. So one of our board members contributed a large amount, and we were able to go out and fundraise against that and ask people to match it. So we were able to close that gap. The other thing is we really felt like it was important to focus on our employees and to make sure that the thing that I think that we were most worried about was maintaining health benefits. So when we had to, roll out the furlough program, and then later the furlough program was implemented in April. And then in June, well, beginning July 1st, we actually had to lay off a significant number of our employees. And so we raised money so that we could cover their insurance benefits until the COBRA payments until the end of the year, because I knew that it was going to be very difficult for most of those employees and their families to maintain some kind of coverage. We were really concerned with, part of our pivoting was to go immediately to the digital space. And so I have to say at this juncture, I think the entire Apollo team, operations as well as the administrative side, the programming side, really rallied. It has been really amazing that we have been able to continue to do what we have to do to, serve the community. And, we're a mission-based organization to continue to do what we think we're supposed to be doing as a performing arts institution in the Harlem community. So one of the things we did was in pivoting to the digital stage, we first started with putting a lot of the programming on that we had already done, but things that we thought were topical, like some of our conversation series and, some of our, we had done a couple of, concerts and operas and just a lot of things. And this is what most of the performing arts organizations across the country are doing. It's being offered for free, so there's no revenue coming in from that. But I think that the important thing for us was to, continue to be top of mind to our constituency, to let people know that we're still there and we're still trying to be responsive to their needs. In compliance with, the state and local directives, we gradually, in the middle towards late part of the summer, were able to begin to rent the theater to people who were interested in photo shoots or streaming programming, all of this without audiences. And that began to create a small revenue source. It also allowed us to really make sure that we had the right protocols in place to allow people into the building. And so we feel that we'll be prepared when we're able to begin letting live, having live performances with audiences in the building. At present, most of my staff is working remotely. The only people in the building are, some of our operations people, our security people. And, you know, we don't really know what's going to happen. Every time we think we know when we might be able to go back to the new normal, I guess, or go towards the new normal, things get moved back. I think with the, I'm bullish because of the vaccine, but I don't think that we're going to see anything begin until possibly the spring, and it could be longer. So we're just trying to, you know, we slashed our 21 budget pretty substantially, almost by half. And so, you know, we continue to go out and aggressively fundraise because that's primarily the revenue that I'm operating on. And that's about it.